And Dr. Niriyani Sharma would like to extend a warm welcome to our honorable guest of the day, Dr. Mahalingam Govindaraj sir, Senior Scientist, Harvest Plus and Alliance Biodiversity, CIAT, and Dr. Sarvanaraj sir, Director, Agri Extension and Admin, and Dr. A. Srinivasacharyulu sir, Deputy Director, Knowledge Management, and as well as all the managed faculty, staff, managed fellows, consultants. I welcome you all to the program Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series 33, organized by Managed. This program is organized every year by inviting eminent persons in the field of agriculture and allied sectors. This lecture is recorded and uploaded in Managed YouTube channel to reach last mile extension workers working in the field of agriculture and allied sectors. Now I request Dr. Sarvanaraj sir to welcome our guest, Dr. Mahalingam Govindaraj sir, with a floral point. Sir, now I request Dr. Srinivasacharyulu sir to introduce our guest of the day, Dr. Mahalingam Govindaraj sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Today's eminent speaker, Dr. Mahalingam Govindaraj sir. August Plus and Dr. Sarvanaraj sir, Director, Senior Director, Agricultural Extension Management, and faculty members sitting here. Some of the facilitators, network members who also joined online. Also, few people watching through YouTube link of Manage. Welcome to this very important lecture. It is Krishi Gyandeep lecture series number 23 on global impact of biofortified crop varieties by an eminent scientist of August Plus, Dr. Mahalingam Govindaraj. As you really appreciate these days, this biofortification that has been promoted by institutions, mostly to ensure the global nutritional security and improvement of public health and enhancing food security. And its impact is really dependent on continuous research, careful implementation, and addressing challenges related to accessibility, education, and adaptation of biofortification activities. Here we have today Dr. Mahalingam Govindaraj, an eminent scientist of crop development specialization, August Plus, at the Alliance of the Biodiversity International and CH. And he has been a PhD scholar in plant breeding and genetics from Tamil Nadu Agricultural University. Worked more than a decade in research in Hyderabad. Later, 2014, he introduced the world's first biofortified palmitate known as Dhanakshati. And he has more than 14 years of experience in crop improvement through public-private partnerships and millet and R&D biofortification. And a lot of research contribution he contributed for this tree breeding genetics, population improvement, viability, and he released world's first biofortified rice crop and 10 high iron, high zinc millet cultivars in India. And he led the millet biofortification program in India, West Africa, and Central Africa at research. And he supervised many research scholars and produced PhDs. And coming to his awards and recognition, recently has been awarded with the Norman Borlaug Award for Field Research and Application by World Food Prize Foundation 2022 and MS Foundation Best Scientist Award 2018, Young Scientist Award 2016, and International Scholar Award by IPNI Georgia, USA 2019. And he has been really involving in development of more than 10 significant high iron, high zinc millet cultivars in India, positively impacting thousands of farmers, seed producers, processors, and consumers, and creating and disseminating biofortified plant breeding materials towards sub-Saharan Africa, including Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Sudan, Nigeria, Niger, Senegal, and many other developing countries. I think he is the authority in this area. And thank you very much, sir, for obliging our request. In fact, 3-4 times I am always after you because this topic itself is very, very important for us as an extension organization. And also we have a linkage with the Harvest Plus. So Dr. Vidita is also doing some collaborative activities. We felt that this particular theme is highly important for manage and many extension fraternity working at the grassroots level. Thank you very much for readily agreeing and delivering this important lecture. Thank you, sir. May I request you to kindly take the questions.
Very good morning, all of you. Both virtual as well as physical participants. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer, the manager, especially Srinivasacharyulu, Mr. Rana, and the whole team bringing our work to the light to manage. I hope this lecture will give you what Harvest Plus and CTAR and National Agriculture System are to further championing type of work which is most relevant to public health, how we are linking agriculture. So considering the time, I cannot give the entire work our team is doing globally, but I can give you the overview path we come across to create this impact decades back. I would like to ask the projection of the slide. All in all, the biofortification is gaining 2000. When I was doing my I never knew this topic at all. Even when we in 2003, I guess, early 4, as a part of the final year BSc Agriculture, All India tour, we were visiting Nam. At the time, we are admired by this, the building atmosphere, the students, the dress codes, everything. I was the final year students, we were, very impressed, inspired by this, atmosphere, and we may have thought that I'm one of the students who should study like that atmosphere. Today, I feel that dreams. I think the work that we have done so far, process today is part of the very happy work. Today I'm going to talk about the biofortified crops, starting from the development and dissemination through partnership, which to meet the local impact. So biofortification is, as I mentioned, started in 20 years back, it's 2 decades. It's brought by the economists, not by the plant scientists. So many of you know that biofortification is driven by the plant breeding community. It's not so. And convincing connection between the economics and plant breeding community is challenging. Imagine today, 2 decades before. And economics comes to the plant breeding community and convincing the breed that please help us the plant to do the job. So what is the job? Is that the malnutrition is very critical all over the world. Can you change lives? So this is very important. The global challenge is this is not just horizon. It has been a problem for a while. And today we facing 3 billion people, especially in the low country, including India, who does not have the adequate essential nutrition vitamins through the regular diet. So why it is happening? So the stable foods are being considered, not being considered part of the supply of nutrition. So where we are failing to fulfill the daily requirement of nutrition for especially the vulnerable group of the women as well as children and child is very critical for at the early stage, including and beyond days. The all 50%, less than 50% of the population is getting through the stable diet, the required vitamin nutrition. But actually, the principle of the stable food should provide the maximum nutrition and energy, not just energy as well. Therefore, we can reduce the investment or reach the maximum population in the world. So therefore, the central goal of the crop production is not just the crop production, is also the post-harvest processing. Even today, it's not optimized for the nutrition security. So I repeat that this is a very critical part of the food system. So this is just not just flying into the some department of agriculture or universities. We cannot make this is the policy-driven changes which we are looking for. But policy or the constitution is mentioned, many of the constitution of India. The Article 47 states that every state, the primary duty to improve the level of nutrition of its, the population of the public health. This is well mentioned since 1940. But how we are making towards that goal is still questionable, and has to be made to fulfill the trade food agriculture business. So many people can ask, if the only biofortification that is the nutrition problem not far, there is no silver bullet, to address the malnutrition in any part of the world. The number one, the most sustainable intervention is that dietary diversity. So therefore, a nourishing dietary diversity is the ideal strategy to address the malnutrition, where you can get the very right mixture of fruits, vegetables, grains, cereals, and vegetables. But keeping that strategy alive for the long term for the whole population is challenging even today and tomorrow. It's not just the affordability, it's also maintain the availability. So what we can do, fortification and supplementation is also ideal, but it's very short and medium term. It cannot be long term because it needs a recurrent investment year after year, and you have a strong monitoring system to follow. But what's upfront or the one-time investment comes into the picture is the biofortification. As I mentioned in the first slide, it tells that stable food is the cheapest vehicle to carry food energy, especially the rural farmers. Next, please. So many people can confuse after biofortification came into the picture. What is fortification? What is biofortification? This fortification has been long, is the supplement strategy I said, which is done post-harvest processing, which is added after the harvesting supplement language. The biofortification comes through its stage where you plant generation after carry it forward. So it's the genetic approach which carry one generation after. But whereas the fortification is how to do the same thing for every package. So I'd like to know, highlight one of the oldest story, but it's a very golden story of the carrot. You know, in 19th century, the carrot was, in fact, in the middle of 18th century, where we are not, not even knowing that by literature. The carrot was the white, yellow, to some extent is purple. Nobody can see orange. It's the only two small breeding program in 1950 they started to promote the orange carrot, okay, in Europe and in the Western countries. Why? Because at the time the carotenoids line is a major challenge. They want to improve the carotenoids through vegetables. Of course, carrot is the temperate crop and it has to be selected more intense orange color, which brings indirectly the total carotenoid. So at the time, it's around 50 to 70 up to the maximum 100 ppm carotenoids. And today, the carrot has 200 plus carotenoid. This is how the selection and breeding is. Are we paying the more rupees if you get the more orange color? No. That's the same strategy biofortification is doing. So how we can biofortify the stable foods? Is of migration from this, only the energy driven and we are packing with related essential micronutrients. Many of you know that essential micronutrients in our body, it doesn't matter who you are. Is we have to, the body has to cannot be synthesized, only has to take it from the food source. What the food source we maximum need the stable. Therefore, that's the cheapest way. Next please. The another question will come. What are the approach you have? We have confused with the several approaches biofortification. Of course, biofortification is done. The definition of the biofortification is also it's very critical to understand at this moment when we have the multiple technologies to talk about the nutrition. The biofortification is any approach, any agronomic or genetic approach that enhance or improve the essential micronutrient in edible parts of the plants. So I repeat, the edible parts of the plants, whereas that has to be shown or to have a measurable impact on the human health indicator. If you fulfill all the terms I used in the definition, then it is called biofortified crops or biofortified food. If you are missing any of those, in my opinion, that cannot be planned as a biofortified. So therefore, the transgenic approach is one we can create, and there is agronomic approach through input, and then the regular approach we are following so far is the conventional breeding, how the crop improvement or crop variety has been released for several decades. So to convince and to avoid any restriction in the release, we took the approach, the conventional breeding approach. But does it mean that biofortification cannot be achieved through transgenics? But it has to be case by case. We need to follow. Next question. So then the next question comes. So okay, there are several crops, several countries, several nutrients. How do we prioritize? That's very critical part of the strategy making. Team is captain is nutritionist, not the other people in the company who fix the target level. But this is the strategy multidisciplinary approach they follow the biofortification priority index, which is available in online, which is an interactive tools. One can go and select the country and crop combination. And it tells that more than 120 countries data, national level data, both crop production and nutritional deficiency and consumption index all together, they form the priority index. Where we can invest there, we can make a difference. So we choose that India is that zinc, rice, zinc, wheat, and iron vulnerability is the priority. So this tool can be both donor as well as any researcher or policy maker. One can think wisely and take the input from the that we developed for almost 13 crops. So once the prioritization done, the crop traits combination has there the plant community. The how much wheat can offer, how much the millet can offer, how much the rice can offer based on the variability in past population. Now the nutrition comes and tells that, okay, this is the requirement if you want to take it to make a healthy indicators impact. As I mentioned in my definition, it's not just improve the nutrition in the critical parts of the plant, it also should be bioavailable, it should be to make the health improvement who consumes the learning. Although this is not just a number, but it is approximate set by the nutritionist. The blue one is tell that what is the crop potential as of the time when they start. The green one says where we can reach to make as a biofortified class of the grain or seed. So these three are zinc, iron, vitamin A is the top three priority nutrients. And those crops, zinc, rice, and seed wheat, are millet and wheat. And for provitamin, maize, cassava, and sweet potato has been selected. So this is not just based on the crop production alone, it is also the consumption and the micronutrient efficiency as well. As I said that you can see the right side of the slide, it's not just only the micronutrient. So when you improve the micronutrient in any of the crop breeding surplus and the varieties, you cannot ignore the consumer preferred traits or farmer preferred traits, which is the yield or disease resistant or the taste. That is also a challenge that will be next. So unless you have the baseline, so you cannot measure where we are progressing. So therefore, baseline and targeting is must. Then crop development comes, as a routine process. All that crop development create the variations within the crop with a target high nutrition level, and also along with the productivity traits, as I mentioned, disease resistant or high yielding, etc. And then validate through the partnership for improving or understanding those genes and the environment effect to make sure that variety, particular new variety, will be doing better. Then it has to be multiplied and supplied to the farmer. So this is not possible alone by Harvest Plus. It has to be done in a multiple step partnership. So who can facilitate an exchange of surplus between countries, also between states and central? Next thing. All know that in the nutrition traits, mostly the invisible except the carotenoids. The carotenoids you can handle orange or yellow, some degree of yellowish from yellow to orange. But the probability of the success for biofortification is additional challenge because of the invisible trait, say for example iron and zinc. And also the productivity traits mostly the visible, that by look, how is plenty of frame set and appearance, uniform, etc. But this is very critical part. So how this is possible? So therefore the high throughput techniques, you need to predict the invisible trait in every seed we progress. So therefore, very critical part at the time, molecular marker and genomics is not being well developed, but now we are in a good position to do that part. The effort is cannot be compromised. As I mentioned, the tried diagnosis, also the various competitive traits which is already being built into the population. So therefore, it is the both performance of the product and also the characterization is very much is property of the success of the biofortification experience. As I mentioned, this is that high throughput phenotyping platform is established in 25 plus placed instruments, which is called X-ray fluorescent spectrometry, which detects the non-destructive method of your grain or any sample to be whether it has high nutrition or vitamin, etc. This is how set the stage to enhance the biofortification. So you can see the spread from the whole global south that position this instrument. And many of you don't know this instrument not being customized for plant sample until 2010. So this has been just a decade before, the place Cambridge University of Australia and Harvard as technology department, and who helped us to bring this instrument and customize. And now this is plenty. We are the expert of the world. One can use any micronutrient. Then comes to the crop variability. I will put one or two slides, so that you can understand what we are really talking about. What is not exist, what is exist after doing this intervention. This is one example come from the pearl millet. Everybody knows that millet is the nutritious crop. But the question is, are the common grown varieties are being all the same level of nutrition? That's the big question. After our intervention, we saw that in almost all the released hybrids and varieties in India. Of course, this is done by each country, but I'm presenting the India case. You can find out that how much the iron level of the micronutrient, especially for cultivars, we release both public and private sector. As I said, is 45, 47 ppm milligram per kg the minimum baseline. Our target is almost 77, 75 to 77. None of them were qualified. So therefore, the germplasm improvement is happened. You can see that the green color one, biofortified breeding investment, it jumped from the almost 47 to 7, reached more than target. The other commercial hybrid, you can see none of them is 0%, and whereas mainstreaming line, which is bred for only productivity traits, it fortunately got the 80% of the material, which has the high iron content. Whereas germplasm has good portion of the variation. However, we need to improve the productivity traits and nutrition. The green part is clearly tell how biofortified crops approach is brought to the level of nutrition and other productivity traits to make the platform for mainstream. And now today, we are leading that, they are doing a good job and it is being mainstream in this trade according to pretty well. So that's the variability and how this development and dissemination happen. After 2020, our program primarily focused on delivery. The strategy is being demonstrated well and it's working fine, and the center has to take responsibility as a team. The crop development is in the first phase, and the delivery nutritional status studies are being done. I can give you some of the slides. And the nutrition, including the nutrition retention studies done at the basis. And the critical part is that in the delivery, so which we are in the current phase since 2020. And we have to go a long way to make higher impact, and especially reaching 1 billion. So this is what partnership does. One example I'm putting from Attaluri in India. Those biofortified crops are being tested across the zone, what regular pearl millet cultivars being tested by the high power of state agriculture and any private sector. And we leave none of them behind, and all stakeholders are taken to the board and we consult and brainstorm. And really, this model has worked very well, and it has brought up 7 state agriculture universities in India who's the mandate of millet, and 2 state seed corporations, and 16 private sector companies. The times now the number is varies. I'll also be testing this product. You can see the other crops, and the blinking one is the pearl millet. Is all other of the countries. So this is how the public-private partnership model is working. And it is being done with a crop like millet is highly challenged because private sector investment is very less. But pearl millet has got opportunity being a cross-pollinated crop where you can make the hybrid. Therefore, private sector attention is more than. This is the first paper of biofortified hybrids released in India. You can see just as a sample, it's nothing less than any commercial hybrids. But the only concern is that we need to beat the yield potential of the commercial hybrids, which come from the second thing is that it is having 50 to 100% higher micronutrient than any other high foods in the market. That's the point we are making to both the yield and the nutrition. And one more variety is released in both Niger and Nigeria. You can see the image on the end farmers who really appreciated when we introduced the new variety, which is not routinely accepted by the regional farmers. Why would we say that? The African yam blossom or any variety which is the long duration from Indian conditions, the long panicles, almost close to a meter, the long panicles, so that they can manipulate the farm and they can store. And then they will crush before 10 days or 15 days of the food. So this is the rice for them. The percolate that they consume, in West and Central Africa. And they have only one crop season. So therefore, keep on harvesting the farm at least in more than a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks based on the maturity of the grain. But our variety is mature at the same time, so the harvest will be done at the same time. The one good part is that not just because of high iron and productivity, and this is by chance, our selected variety got 30 days, 25 to 30 days early maturity than the regular. So therefore, 1 month before they have their own food in farm. If many of you know that Niger, if somebody visit that, I'm sorry to mention, it's a very, very unfortunate population. Okay. So they have not very good infrastructure, is number one. Number two is that climate is hitting them very badly, and the millet is the only source of. And they have to harvest, they have to keep the entire 12 months of the next season to eat that. So assuming that even the panicles is sold very, very costly than India in their markets, they will procure from the market and they will crush it and they use for food. So this is very critical for us. So we feel that at least the technology also can be combined with the early maturity, and the farmer needed traits, and also the market driven attributes. So therefore, the biofortification is becoming very well recognized in African regions. So this is the seed production, the Shakti seed production. Before Corona, this is the right side field, but you can see that the soil and the climate, the life they live in the desert. Millet anywhere, everywhere you can see. This is the only crop that's there. So therefore, investing in millet in Africa is a huge potential, and improving nutrition in millet is another impact layer of impact. Yes, it's not just pearl millet, and also we are talking so all multiple crops. You can see that the number of varieties has been reduced for almost 2 decades. 450 plus varieties released plus investor program and also the International Center for Potato Research, Lima, Peru. It's combined 450 plus varieties, including potatoes. So you can see the map tells that it's almost the cover up in varieties is almost the global south. It's more than 90%. How then comes to the policy, or the releasing the one part, and then making the policy to support that type of growing environment, farmers and consumers. The policy driven approach of the national programs, international stakeholders is very important. The 20 plus countries supporting the biofortified. Either through market, either growing, either for processing, etc., and also the health intervention. And you can see that the downside bar is the global regional Asia and Africa and Latin America and Caribbean region. Asia is the largest number of crop varieties released. And comes to India, the red bar shows that 90 plus varieties being designated as a biofortified crop by ICAR. This is the list by 2022. The list goes up by now, 2 years later. Then comes to the big question, okay, increasing number of varieties is one case, but how much area is adopted? Are the farmers are growing and consuming? I can tell one story here, considering the time. The success story is that seed wheat in Pakistan. We know, like India, Pakistan also consumes a lot of wheat. The Bharatiya other birds. It tells that the three biofortified wheats occupy almost 40% of the area, which is the production of also is close to 40 to 41%. It is measured that based on our impact studies, about 40% of the population, in fact, more than 40% of the population eating seed wheat through various foods. So therefore, the per capita consumption varies from 14 kg to 110 kg. So one can ask how it is. It must be variation. But depends on the availability. Somebody store the house harvest and they can store for a 12 months who can reach that 100 plus kg per capita. But somebody buy from the market, they goes to the less per capita consumption because the availability stops after some time. So therefore, there is variation. But the impact here is this is also bring the rust resistant, which is the best disaster in the wheat production. Also heat tolerant, which is grown, after March and February, you can see imagine the heat at the grain production stage. So this is a very critical combination between the nutrition, productive utilization, and resilience of the climate. So this is the mainstream varieties developed by CIMIC and distributed through the Asia. And Pakistan is the best example of it. Next, please. So another pipeline of the wheat program is becoming, very long story. But I'd like to highlight one point that, how the nutrition is compiled. The 10 years data from the research organization, especially the CIMIC, who lead the wheat in the global south, and they estimated that, more than 100 kg per hectare per year. That's the progress they are making. But comes to the nutrition is the same breeding population of the variety. So that is the improvement they are making, it's more than 6 kg. So this is very critical improvement in terms of nutrition and the yield is concerned. So in a simple way, so one can ask what happened with the biofortification program inception as of today, and what level we can integrate with the nutrition as well as the gradient. You see, the yield is spread as more than 8 to 10 decades, but nutrition is started, less than 2 decades. The actual breed, of course, the Varieties started around 2002, it's a 2-decade old. But if you see that progress to represent both nutrition and yield at the same unit level, so we put the gram. So all units in the grams. So you can see that by 2020 now, so now it's reached the level closer to the progress we are making. In fact, we can make much more progress because it's very easy to make the nutrition, but yield is very hard. Next, please. And also the income oriented, because many of the managers of the arts program is also extension officer who really think that how it can make a difference in the household level of farmer fields or farmer markets. This is one example I would like to quote in Ravana. It's the bean consuming country. The biofortified beans is rich in iron. There are 2 types of beans. One is the climber, which is grown in high altitude, and the bush type, which is grown in plains, in the lower altitude. So these 2 groups are targeted, and the varieties bred for biofortified has been tested. So here are 2 messages. One is that really yield along with the nutrition and without compromising the farmer income. And in fact, it is improving the farmer income. So through increased yield, you can see more than 20% increased yield, also increase their income by 20 plus level. Next please. The challenge comes here. Many of you know that crop improvement of plants, the variety is a function of genetic process. Of course, we cannot deny that it's a function of genetics, but it's also a function of investment. How much you invest, how much the research can happen, how much delivery can happen. It's of course applicable for any project. So one example here I'm giving the number of varieties released over the 2 decades. The peak was, it's around 15 to 19, I would say. And after that, it is almost decreasing because of the investment is going down on the biofortification or the nutrition in agriculture. But today, many intervention policy makers are talking about the nutritional impact. The biofortification is the one has to be considered in the number one, I would say, agriculture, crop production and processing. Therefore, we can address these type of issues in future. Next. So the challenge is, increasing as we know that challenging not just for climate and also the research-driven approach, which is heavily focused on, yield, which is right, which is not wrong. But keeping that right approach for a long term may be a wrong approach, I would say. The evidence is well proven that the latest publication by 2023 says that all the mega varieties which is contributed to the revolution has significantly has a lower, much lower level of nutrition which is supposed to have, the 20 years of that year. It could be, more than 50% reduction, even in rice and wheat. Those are mega crops in India. So the number is given, it is come from publication from 2016, which also tells the same story. The critical part of the element of research of commitment now is to consider what is the essential micronutrient, what can be offered to the crops. So we cannot ignore for a longer time. It's only for activities. Also, we need to consider, like we are talking about climate resilient traits. One has to talk about nutrition also. The climate is going to hit not just for either, but also for the nutritional traits. So it's a very critical part, and we have our community in the Harvest Plus and CGAR, and they're very well aware. They are taking care of the calculation and making sure that any of the future variety should be monitored for this. So how we are positioning the challenge to be addressed in future. We know that so far Harvest Plus invested in the biofortification. So one has to take ownership of the center, the crop led by center, and they are taking the ownership of mainstream from 2020. So how do we make our negotiation? Is that push that micronutrient, which are more relevant to the crop, really, to the center of the core circle, which is shown in the green color, which is any breeding program targets that part of the traits. So we need to move from special category to core category. So therefore, it is very critical. So we cannot negotiate, no negotiation, no ignorance of this trait during the crop development. The product profile is nothing but is a breeder blueprint, you would say. The next 5 years, what is the variety going to learn? That's the blueprint. So that's the simple term of the product profile, which is private sector very well advanced on those technology, but public sector now moving towards that. So CGR now developed 300 plus crops product profile, of which 80%, I would say around 20% is going to be moved from special category to category. This is the biggest change and biggest acceptance and commitment. All we need to see how we are making progress. So therefore, I mentioned that earlier, genetic progress is not just function of genetic alone, moving right from special to core, and also funding, adequate funding to that type of system. Next, please. The next part of the issue comes the post-harvest. So, okay, farmers growing biofortified crops, they're harvesting, they're consuming. That's the first most target. Okay, the surplus goes to the market. So, are they having any national policy or the guidelines or the standards exist between the farmer or the procurement, the buyer? Only the buyer gets labeled in the market, not from the farmer. So we fill that form between the gap section between farmers or the traders. The Harvest Plus work closely with the Global Alliance for Nutrition and as well as the Ready Standard Institution, who refer largely the many metrics and standards, not only in agriculture and many aspects. So one of those that we, our team is approached, and this is through special project they implemented this publicly available standard, which short term is PAS. Each PAS has series of number 233, 234, like that. The 233 is refers to the three crops, which is being biofortified, and 234 is the iron crop, 235 is vitamin A. In the multiple crop focused on one nutrition. So how can we differentiate from one crop comparing to the nutrient in the market or from the procurement from the farmer field? It's very critical. Therefore, this is a very good guidelines established. The self-guided, which is freely available in the you can download the link is available in the presentation in the link here. You can download the zip crop, iron crops, and the providence crops for guidelines. So one example, they categorize three clauses of the grain or keywords when it comes to the vitamin A crops. So one is class 1, class 2, class 3. The class 1 is that always the top level, which 100% meets the biofortification. Of course, some of the various interventions farmers hit by the bad weather or something issues, then the level goes down. So we cannot ignore that part of the production. So we can also grade them as a grade 2 to the certain level of the ppm or milligram per kg in terms of iron and zinc. So that then comes to the third group. So if you are not following your production in any of the groups, cannot be considered as a biofortified. So therefore, it is very good use for market and how we link this to the breeding targets. So this is also connected to the breeding target of the market. Next, please. So how we made this program is successful so far. This is the approach harvest follow. It's work with crop research center, where trade and crop development is happening. And also the breeding pipeline and testing and release of the product. The most of the academic or the research center stop that stage. Where the seed is released, the purpose is over. Of course, the domain is over. Then it goes to seed multiplier, distributor, another part processing and value addition and retail products. Who will reach the entire the chain of the value chain? Very critical and Harvest Plus media partnership, not just around research partnership and also the retail. So how we can benefit the biofortified crops sustainably in the local region, the marketed to the consumer benefits. One more clip, please. So this is very critical part. Breeding is now changing and transforming. They are taking the more market intelligence based survey. So what you breed for several years, what consumer need, we don't know what they prefer. Only the production index is the match. But are we considered what really consumer? There are different types of consumer. One like the different days, another region like another days. Are we integrating those into the breeding program? Is a big question. So now we realize the plant community, the breeding should happen what the consumer is needs. Also, breeding also responsible as a social impact responsible, also should deliver the nutrition, so they cannot be denied. So therefore, these type of things we are improving in CTR and also the national agriculture. The only thing we need to bring the private sector more engaged. Without them, they cannot really mainstream the end users. So therefore, the approach is well positioned. There's a long way to go to create sustainable value chain for all the crops in all the regions. We are working with the various partners. You are most welcome to work with any number of partners in this wherever you fit in this value. So how do you segregate, biofortified and non-biofortified? This is the one example from Pakistan, as I mentioned, and how they do that segregation of the zinc weight that they distribute. So this is properly guided, and our team is working with the value chain and commercial sector as well. And this is mostly for the government sector. We do also the capacity building and also guide them through labeling through the particular analysis of the market service. In India, also we are deployed in several states and several crops, including millets, rice, wheat, of course, lentil as well. those varieties have been given here, how much we produce, mostly several metric tons of seed distributed. And we also engage the women farmers who can make the decision in terms of nutrition and phosphate consumption, who can wisely choose the which nutrition, which crop, and which variety to be chosen for going. Next, please. And this is the one slide I showed you. The two bar, which is baseline target. The top green bar is tells that what is being achieved. So this is very well achieved in all the crops for all three nutrients. It is well set at 100% target is mostly the first class of the kind to procure in the market as per the PA standards. And people have to complement in the future variety also to keep that balance. So therefore, the baseline and target not just to the keep the investment going up and also measure the progress, how we are making the progress from baseline to the target, and when we reach the target and how we can sustain. That's the critical part of the process. Next, please. And the last one is the nutritional impact. Many of the nutrition is very critical, and as I said in the beginning, these targets are fixed by the nutritionist, not by the plant community. And most of the crops which have been released so far is given the iron crops is provide up to 80% of the your daily requirement, EAR. And whereas the zinc is up to 70% you can get, one can consume the regular fertilizer the given. Whereas vitamin A you can get, sometimes in sweet potato you get up to 100%, whereas otherwise you can get the grain crops up to 50%. So this is a huge impact one can create by changing, by choosing the appropriate grains to be put as well as the possible consumption. Next, please. These are all the studies which supports that how much the bioavailability and efficacy study has been conducted for Biofortified crops. It's all just not only improving the nutrition, as you know that nutrition is also important for providing the full potential of the children or women, create the healthy conditions to improve both mental as well as physical activities. So some of the studies have proven that consuming seed crops, reduce the diarrhea and also reduce that illness of the school children who can give the more attendance. The attendance goes down when you're sick. This is very critical observation when they provided intervention to Biofortified crops. And there are many health benefits being claimed based on these studies, but it is well proven. So therefore, biofortification is not less than any other approach can provide nutrition, and it is critically proven in various independent studies. These studies are not being conducted by August Plus. So this is being conducted by independent, as you know that clinically registered trial will always have the ethical team and ethical committee to pass through. So these studies proven again and again, more than one variety of the same crop provide the same pattern. That means you can make the difference in nutrition by consuming this type of grains. So one of the examples where I worked at the time of Equistat, this is that the impact we made that the consumption growing of the household very critically proven that the iron deficiency becoming normal when you consume regularly 6 months. Okay, the quantity varies from based on your body weight. It varies from 150 grams to 40 grams. You consume then the group, randomized group they had in the study, the reverse to that iron deficiency become normal. This is a very critical success. One can use that policy intervention. Of course, India is the only country who made that iron and zinc is the part of the release criteria. Doesn't mean that you are bringing more productivity traits, it's well and good, but also bring at least the minimum level of iron and zinc. The iron is 42 ppm, zinc is 32 ppm. They're fixed in the national level. Any other variety, at least officially, has to endorse by these levels. Next, please. And this is the last 2 years, data show the various countries, how many people are eating the biofortified crops. I'll show the next slide, the global impact. So this is the global impact. Many of you seen this slide already. As a Harvest Plus promoting that 100 million people reach. It's not simple reaching this many people by, this is 100 million people just who grow and eat. But who buy from the market is an additional millions. It's not possible only by Harvest Plus, as you mentioned. It is the only public and private and stakeholder partnership. Very critical element to achieve that, yield and nutrition carrying biofortified variety. So therefore, Harvest Plus is worked across the partners, not just the production, and also the post-harvest approaches. So that's the best example is proven here to make the global impact. Next, please. The very critical part, and it is our experience and lesson learned last, for 1 decade when working, including the pandemic. The biofortification is not just a micronutrient intervention. We're supposed to design in such a way. It also create an income when you bring the special price to that commodity and value chain after really, also improve the accessibility of the healthy food for the both urban and rural areas. And another interesting point is that even the pandemic, everybody knows zinc is promoted like anything, which is part of our immune system. So this crop is provided is opportunity for the poor who remotely access to the health supplements, etc. And this provides as a resilience when you face another pandemic. You should not pray for that. This is a resilient approach one can have. But variety reduced, resilience is achieved, but the one day climate change is going to kick back further down the nutritional value of the. This is very critical part. At least you maintain or monitor this type of nutrition. Therefore, food production is justified for the human wellness. The key message, I hope I completed. This is the last slide of the message. Is all you know that nutrition is the non-negotiable trait in agriculture for production or processing. Therefore, any future variety comes from now on recommended to have the minimum level. So keeping the sustainable pipeline is also important to keep the future variety coming at a certain level. So therefore, the approach of the mainstreaming is advocated for the various breeding centers. It's not just the breeding center, also the government has to ensure the positive atmosphere of enabling policies. It is very much important that if that environment is not there, then we can push for long term. So our impact team has said that by 2030, 830 million people will be put both in Hong Kong. So therefore, there is a long way to go. It's a deeper research, especially on the nutrition traits as well as the post-harvest method. The ones crop like rice, if the biofortified, and your most of the nutrient goes to the alluron area, and you keep on policy, you want to pure white rice, all the effort goes to manage. Therefore, we need to optimize the post-harvest approaches and make awareness to the consumer. So the more white is, the more dangerous. So that is proven. It is. I did not present the slide. The Bangladesh government passed a bill in 2023 based on our research in post-harvest policy, which is remove 50% of the nutrition when you make the both fine brine, and also nowadays the policy is happening to share the time. Okay, so that remove almost 50% of the nutrition. Now they banned all the medical trials that no one can sell more than certain degree of policy. So I look forward to Indian and maybe can also participate in this type of deliberation, create awareness among the consumer and as well as the millers, and then government policymakers. So this, as I mentioned, private sector is the most the end use interacting with the commercial scale, and we need to be both them engaging approach. So all we need is that we cannot replace any existing strategies. As I said, there is no silver bullet. But agriculture and biofortification is one of the approach one can use appropriately for a long term. Therefore, positioning the biofortified variety in your any of the projects is very much important, not just local, regional, but it is global. Investment is needed. Next page. Yeah. This is what I always tell that. I come from the research background. I work with many people, diverse people, economists, nutritionists, stakeholders, and even millers. I do understand what we did mistake in the past. One has to understand everything what we did is not on this point. One has to understand how we can make more efficient in Chinese land. So making interdisciplinary approach is the most success part of the element. Harvest plus is human, harvest plus is a multidisciplinary approach. It not just support research, and we take the end user and policy maker. So that's why the harvest plus is working across the value chain. Thank you, and also one more slide. So we all know that food industry, food security not just food production, or food supply, it also brings the nutrition. So it is not has two different definitions, but just one definition is approved by the global deliberations. The hereafter food security means should include nutrition. If you are failing to do that, your food security is incomplete. So that's what we deliberate both research and policy dialogue. And we are telling that India is growing and several years after independence, we still have the malnutrition. That's a big problem. It is easily preventable. So I always argue with many stakeholders and also policymakers. Government officials. Invest just 1% of your health intervention money. You can make huge impact in the health system, of the farmer health, of the actually environment, and you're getting diversity of crops. So therefore, naming the one way of promoting, say for example, international year of year, we are prioritizing ourselves. Well, good, the reach is very good. After that, 1 year we cannot achieve everything. We need to work for a decade. So let us work for a decadal approaches to make for the to connect the nutrition. I hope the extension officers are the stakeholders are the innovators who work with them can benefit from our lecture. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we cannot give on their process and intellectual technology. Even scale is reachable through the manage. And we are open to give any type of expert or advocacy working with you for the benefit of the. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful thoughts on biofortified crop and why it is important in today's scenario. Now, the session is open for question and answer.
So your presentation was really very insightful. So many data statistics also we could get to see about application. Actually, I wanted to get back into thinking at a level. So I want to understand from the reader's perspective, which crop is it more convenient for targeting for nutrient, irrespective of whether it is stable or not. Because usually by identification, you are targeting the stable crops. But from the business perspective, which is the most convenient, whether milk, crops, vegetables, fruits, and fruits also we have seen very less not reached so far. So what are the reasons for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. As I mentioned one of my slides, the biofortification is taking the stable food as an aid. Why so? The biofortification initial target was the rural poor, the remote farmers, and consumer who does not have access to any fruits, vegetable or dairy or meat products. And also your supplementation interventions. Therefore, they reached to reach the remote farmers, and the only way what they grow and eat. Therefore, I don't think that there should be a distinguish between what breeders should do, choose other than non-stable. As long as it reaches the needy people, any crop is fine. But stable crop is the maximum reach in that approach. And also, Harvest Plus does not say that you cannot biofortify. We need to identify the crops which need to be biofortified. As you mentioned, fruits already rich in minerals. So I think one, at least we maintain, promote an accessibility and affordability of that produce to the consumer. That's the best approach. But the farmers largely consume the staple food. That's why I always ask the breeding community to get more. And this is the annual crop season. Every year, number of varieties comes. But the perennial fruits and taking longer time, wait, of course, not that's the reason. We have more number here, more reach here, more consumption, but that quantity high number. Therefore, this is the best approach to the maximum after the balance. By choosing that, say, indicated that biofortification priority index interactive tool, one can choose the combination. And there you can find out if you are in this country, what are the crops you can focus. I think that's the better way. But still, we can improve, bringing more input to that model, to improve that in additional crops. The lentil crops, finger millet, those was not the target crops initially, but now Harvest Plus is focusing on calcium finger millet, which is only biofortified, already reaching, so they can take it to the scaling point. So one can choose wisely that you need scaling or you need breeding. I hope.
Yeah, thank you for a very nice presentation. What crop varieties? As you said at the beginning, it is started by economics. I'm an economics person actually, but you know that the technology adoption is not so easy. Scalability is not so easy. You've seen so far in many agricultural technologies, hardly 5 to 10% is adopted. 90% or not. It's a modern research led. So the main thing is the cost, price of the technology, cost of adoption. If I see the things that you're showing on gene, iron, butterfly crop, food, health and nutrition, it's also important to understand for a farmer. So what is the difference in the price? Yields are shown. What is the cost, price, I mean market price? 1 kg of wheat difference between the number one, as we are showing today, organic, if you produce 50 rupees extra. Okay, is there any such difference with the biofortified and organic versus the normal cultivated crops? Are you having such type of comparison in cost of cultivation, market prices, and what is it available in the market? Such things, if anything that we have, that helps to understand the people. So use the information. Okay, can I add this or not? Is there anything that changes my cost? It's increasing the cost by thousands, by 50,000. What people will not go. If it is producing at the same cost, it will go. But at the same time, consumer preference is also important. In consumer preference, again, it depends both on taste as well as the cost, market price. So these are things that, as an economics, I understand if you have anything related to that, please throw some light on that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Good question. As I mentioned earlier, hope audible. This is driven by the economist RKVY that 2016 the world food price target. He was trying since 1990 as far as one of the constant concept. The concept is born on 2023. So this is, as I since you put that your perspective production. The dream I think is 20 years back. We don't want to change any difference in the entire process. As of now, of course, not a project people are working and special intervention, special procurement cost varies a bit. But the cost of production is the same. Either it goes, say, for example, key price or the normal price. The production and practice no change. If we do so, then that should benefit at least 3-4 times benefit, then people can change that. So since we don't change that, production part is taken care. And comes to the taste as a consumer, market. The taste should not change. Say, okay, when I'm eating Africa, also be dominated by white rice, not like they consume maize like anything, any. If we introduce orange, now you imagine how the consumer and farmers have to invest a lot to create awareness about it. And also we brought that zinc is an additional nutrition. The zinc we were able to trade on the white maize genetics. So we complement both zinc, white background, orange maize, region. So there are consumer and production strategies not changing much. Only the acceptance factor, which is not changing or taste. And this is also applicable for zinc and iron, and there is no difference in taste. So far, there is no like there is a difference in taste. Of course, the clinical study should have brought that into that to us if that is the change in taste. I think coming to the premium price. So, my opinion, I don't want to promote the premium price. I want to be everything. Of course, we want to create a short term or medium term. I fully agree there should be some policy to create awareness and promote promotion of the variety and also encourage the farmers to grow. But still, that it has to be implemented. Price, production of the price, short answer is price of the production, selling price, no case change. It's all aligned with what it is. One has to promote in short term, I think it's very good, very big push from policy. For selling price in the PDS also they can create a window. Okay, instead of giving 10 kg, 2 kg, 15, 28 kg. This is how we can create it.
Idea is for the red rice and also to the golden rice. There from wrong. You see the black rice, red rice, prices compared to some things. So people are able to go and purchase. Okay. Similarly, that's where I want to leave this. Golden yellow rice is because of the color and taste. Many people in that area has initiated the then now I don't see the scalability as that. I'm speaking 5-10% scalability. Adoption is very good. Similarly, the same kind. So that's where I'm asking whether this also has this identities.
The issue is that production. We have everybody planted production, we don't have production. You have availability more, as you know, marketing. It's all linked to the market. So now we need to distinguish what is the biofortified, synchronized, and personalized, and then will be the price difference as well. You can also provide organic in terms of iron millet. There is no info. I think we need to work, that's why I said, it's a long way to go. What is targeted approach is being done. Now mainstreaming approach comes to the ground reality and accepting the challenges. And we need to work together.
The first slide of this comparison, there is no change. Significant prices, nothing is changed. It helps the people as well to understand.
Yeah, I think we can also send it.
Actually, sir, that is the major question. Whenever we want to conduct training program, participants will ask this question. That is, this is very costly by the farmers think biofortified seed varieties if they are not getting that price in the market. So, pricing is very important.
Yeah, we are middle man. We need to talk to the government. We need to take the farmer concern to the policy. How do we policymakers will accept any evidence? We need to create more evidence. When we create evidence, when we work together and we understand the farmer, then the challenges can be created as an opportunity. We did for Nigeria. The Nigeria country is doing a lot of biofortification. Sometimes they don't include now because they have well understood the study. That's how we need to create the servant or regulatory model. We need to create brainstorming and we need to produce our evidence. Then I go for the weekend. So going, in my opinion, going individually, going collectively, governments, I think they will use evidence what we created, or someone created. Some will tell them it's going to be very convenient. But farmer always bring in a challenge, and farmer also needs some education why we are doing this approach. So this is first for your nutrition, you harvest and you consume. The next, if you want to grow in the market, then the surplus will go. If you are adequate in nutrition, then the policy comes in. I think we cannot jump quickly one step by step. That's my opinion.
What is working with so what is biofortified? Because it's complete biofortified. And we have any literature regarding the minor millets because mistake is fully with the rainfed farming. So is it possible farmer can affordable to implement this particular varieties, especially millets?
Thank you. Yeah. As I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, biofortification is not a non-rocket science. Biofortification is increasing and improving the essential micronutrient and vitamins in edible parts of the plant that will have the measurable health impact after regular consumption. This is biofortification. So not just like that, anything we say this got this level that is not being bioavailable, not being. And biofortified is just like a regular variety, what you are doing in your region. Any rice variety, any just like that. So the approach also is follow the same approach. So instead of selecting the productivity trait, they are also on top of it, they are screening the micronutrient level when they are advancing their variety. So before release, they characterize and they tell that additionally this part iron or zinc or any potential. That's the whole of the point. So nothing entirely different what the farmers will do. Same. The second question is that small millets. The millets, if really there are demand, there are a number of centers or varieties in the Indian Institute of Millets. In the also there is get any millet. But we have working with across the national partners as well as international. We can also help you to get any varieties received from Gujarat and Govindaraj. We are working with the two finger miller capsule. We are now things. They are benefiting from that. If you would like to know the demand, then we
Sir. Minor millets are being grown in the rainfed areas. Minor millets. This biofortification of the crop is very great. It is packing with the minerals and nutrients. In the locally accepted food grains, like if you take Karnataka, southern Karnataka, it largely cultivated people eats ragi. If you go to northern Karnataka, they prefer jowar. So these two crops mainly grown in the rainfed areas. So biofortification in these two crops will be a great idea to that particular region. And for northern Karnataka, it will be jowar, and southern Karnataka, it will be finger millet. But because of the rainfed condition, does this agronomic practices, does it really require sophisticated cultivation in the environment, or can it be grown in rainfed areas?
Yeah, so that's another angle of question. Very good. Thank you for asking the question. We know millet, well millet especially. Which states largely grown is Rajasthan. More than 45% of the area and production come from Rajasthan. How much rainfall we receive? The pearl millet we released and we are testing in those regions is well adapted in the rain conditions. So I hope this is not exceptional from crop specific, because the variety is being used to breed for biofortified, which is adapted in class of the particular growing environment. So therefore, no significant change. And therefore, as I was saying, given when there is a difference in production, no, there is no different practical practice to be followed, unless otherwise specifically mentioned for the variety. So therefore, it is across the rainfed condition, also in the irrigated. This all is to ensure that you should have the minimum moisture level established for plant population. I would say if you have instead of 10 plants, you're supposed to have in place, you have only one plant. I hope that definitely impact not just yield alone, but also nutrition. We need to maintain plant population, and that I hope it's clear.
There is no changes in the economic practices.
That's not necessarily.
But do you have any data related to bioavailability of the enriched nutrients?
Yeah, I can give that. As I mentioned, 80% of the iron crops provide daily requirement. EAR, not RDA. I hope many of you know the difference between RDA and EAR. The EAR is not just lower than RDA. Because RDA is you need to have 95% of the health. But we cannot consider as 95%. We are testing health. There's EAR, the best accepted globally indicator. The daily requirement you can get 80% of. That is good enough. 80% from one commodity, but another portion are other. Even tea, coffee, milk, you are taking the diverse paper, you are filtering 100%. I would say anything give more than 40-50% daily. That's the best. The bioavailability comes to iron and zinc. Is mostly tested, and it is found that in general, zinc is cereal 25%, 20 to 25%. Whereas the iron level is bit lower because it's binding into many other elements, which impact the bioavailability. But the bioavailability is very big. to speak. It varies from week to week and week to level. It's how we follow as individual time, individual lifestyle. The bioavailability also. That's a big concept, but in general, this is formula we have tested more than 7% of bioavailability. But how do you make the difference? The Biofortified has a close to a 70 or 75 pp. You have 40 to 45 pp. You will estimate 7% of the 75 pp. 7% of that's the difference. It should be.
But
When you show the biofertilizer factor, is there any change in the plants itself, genetic resistance or resistance to pest and disease? Is there any altering that resistance function?
You need to know that biofortified crops are more resistant to pest and disease. Okay. I think no. So there is no evidence, such evidence.
The another is whether it's facts. If you go for biofertilizer, there is a one variety. There is a chance of losing the resistance to pest and disease like this. But
if you grow largely one variety, not only biofortified, any variety become a large that will become susceptible. Okay. You have to have the regular replacement. Okay, varietal replacement. Year after year, that's the concept of any crops. But if you see if you increase the iron level or zinc level, you are going to attract the new pest and disease. I don't think so.
the last question. Sir, we heard about after it keeps doctor away. So, what about the mineral and nutritional value in the apple? Can we biofortify such nutritional level to the locally accepted price, like ragi on the jowar, rice, which is locally accepted. So apple is 100 rupees per kg, and if you can really biofortify ragi with the nutritional which is there in the apple, so ragi is near 30 rupees kg and apple is 100 rupees kg. So is it really possible?
Yeah, that's interesting angular question. But I'm thinking, can I replace him by you? Okay. So I don't think that's a very welcoming approach, but idea is good, novel. But we need to think something else. What we can complement from each other. What really is that bigger millet can be accommodated without losing our cultivation. This is what we are talking. We still want the diversity. First, foremost, intervention for the healthy nation and healthy population. Diversified diet. We make use of every individual crop for its benefits. Calcium, no other crop can bring except the pigment. Let us tap that resource. Of course, this is maybe after 20 years, maybe after our lifetime, this maybe research can happen. But one need an investment. I'm not, I'm optimist on your question. And also one has to invest. Any of the blue sky research time. Somebody say crazy or something like that. Still, we need to invest. Whether the question is good. But I'm just taking another angle, how we cannot create one commodity to bring all the nutrients, as is mentioned. There is no silver bullet. There is no silver capsule to address all. Similarly, we should see the crop also such a diversification. Okay. But wherever it is not possible, we can complement and supplement. Thank you.
Right. Sir, we in the northeastern region, sir was my teacher also in yes. Sir, what I want to ask is Biofortified is it synthetically obtained? Then, my second question is, in our northeastern region, the center of origin of so many crops, but due to the introduction of HYP hybrids and the promising cultivars from the other areas, we have lost many of our indigenous germplasms. And introduction of these HYVs and hybrids has also introduced application of so many chemicals. And likewise, what happened is, slowly the taste, the flavors of other regions has taken their place in our dietary systems. Whereas pursuit of biodiversity knowledge is enriched even now. Then, if the policymakers makes policies for the entire nation, it also impacts us, the northeastern region. So if that is going to happen, likewise, so many of our local germplasms in Pedi, we have lost. And many of our ancestors, I also belong to a farming community in my home place. They used to tell they had so many enriched varieties. But now when I go village, I don't find them. I find this MQ7029, MQ1010, and so many others. Not that it's not related with us at all. The Japonica type or the sticky rice, we had so many. But today we hardly find 2 or 3 varieties. Now, introduction of these through the policies will also impact us. And will that have any negative impact on our local germplasms? Second question, sir. The third one is, in the long run, if this zinc, calcium, iron, or provitamin, that's a so-called biofortified, if only these particular nutrients are being supplemented, the other nutrients in the crops, will it have any imbalanced in the long run? I want to know such a one.
Thank you. You asked all 3 questions. I forgot your first question. Let me take your second question. The biodiversity and your position with germplasm, that's the critical concern. Now, every program, especially crop center, I think I could also placing the heavy emphasis on how to protect the native varieties. I hope many of you know the farmer rights and plant variety protection in the great body. Any variety, any land races, any germplasm being registered by the farmers or the community or people who are in the center is all being protected. Those emphasis I never seen in years back. That's growing. That's one part of response. Okay, so that will be growing urbanization part. You said that we go back and see. And we move out of our into the urban area or our livelihood. The question is that market is growing for what? So how do we do that? Okay, I grow that in my farm, get my income. The market predictor will be much determined. Of course, the policy is support. Having said that, there is a lot of alternative approaches or entrepreneurs still doing business on organic, I would say, rock-based, you mentioned, or even especially millets, or millet crops, millet entrepreneurs is coming. I think this all I see the positive because people are not closing their eyes at this point. And policy will come in a big change very soon enough. It's not because of your losing. Climate is calling back before you. Climate change. We cannot compete with the regular pipeline, so we need to bring the golden germplasm in forward. So improving the productivity, which means the more mouth is growing, the land is reducing. Population is growing, land is reducing. Even the land races is competitive leader, I think that I'm very optimistic on that part. Of course, I'm not like convinced like you partially, but things is changing. I can see that. The third part of the question is regarding this. You grow only selected nutrients. What happened to other nutrients? I come from the research background. I'm more worried than you. When I'm developing a variety, okay, what happened to the selenium, what happened to the magnesium, what happened to the phosphorus, etc. Even protein. Micronutrient, this is the science part. This takes largely the two strategy approach the plant takes, and it is a and mostly the approach is applicable to most of the nutrition, including nitrogen, which contributes. So these micronutrients positively associated in most crops. I think nobody said this is negatively assisted because this approach is being strategy 1 in the level niche crop, strategy 2 in cross family like that. So this is being, well principle follow and okay, that is a physiology. Positive. When it comes to the grain, which comes to the retransportation from source to seed, that is a very critical part. The biofortification play around that. Okay? The variety of germplasm, a gene responsible for retransportation, plant to biomass to the grain. That's a critical part. So where we need to cautious not to reduce the heat. That's a very critical part. So we have studied, I can quote one example. We have studied more than 14 trials in world millet, and it is shown that there are macronutrient and micronutrient. And in fact, even protein 50% is increased than the regular protein. I would say that's a chance. We are not bred for protein, that's a chance. I cannot claim all the varieties. But there is no such report as reported that if you increase the particular micronutrient, it's other nutrition. And another part of the response, biofortification, we just started to demonstrate the technology on the nutrient. Now they are coming with the calcium. Now they are working in selenium, and somebody on low phytate. The people are adding one after another. I think the layer of investigation should come. I think they are very well aware about these issues, otherwise the technology. Sorry to ask your first question.
Yeah, let me elaborate my first question. My first question is goes like this. If in any case biofortification policies really gets in action, there will be certain transitional phase. Now, where will the farming community stand? Ultimately, the varieties, the cultivars which they produce will lose the momentum that they have in the market accessibility. Now, the big players will come into play. They are big businessmen, dons of the markets. Now, our farming community, our farmers, they are mostly small and marginal. Where will they have the access? Because we are also thinking of doubling the farmers' income. Now, what sorts of incentives has to be provided to farmers so they can also accept this biofortification incentives one side. Also, keeping in mind that their sustainability is also not hampered. That was my question.
Thank you. I think a couple of years back, the Harvest program well integrated with the NITIF, the team, also presented the case study and also the evidence how we can work towards the empowering the farmers through policy to support. This is a very critical part, that we need to go step by step. Make sure that policy is more sustainable. Number 2 is that we are also working in the bilateral mode to keep this momentum going on until the buy-in from the government or the stakeholders. Internationally as well as. So some of the program we are able to go through that school feeding program. Which is initiated, I think, even Telangana, Maharashtra, the Harvest Plus team is working. That's a different team. I can connect with somebody's phone. And they are also connecting the farmers to grow the biofortified, right? Because the school material is a nutrition program of school feeding program, especially for nutrition. Just to replace the regular material with a certain percentage, so that the farmer can and the market can create a demand and they will get a regular commitment of growing and providing the school feeding program is continuously going. That's the one approach last 1.5 years the team is doing, and they are bringing a lot of celebration and also create a lot of. That's the one way and keeping a special and premium price, as I mentioned some of the previous questions. I think we need to work more inclusively and aggressively towards understanding the growing area, also demand, also connecting the private sector. How the private sector can scale up the small products, I would say food industry, how they can scale and line with the export market. The millet is heavily demanded nowadays in the Western country. They are able to get it. So we need to line up those types of change. One way the private sector exploration, other way is the government policy. Now we are not able to export rice. Possible. So something like that we need to bring. Who benefits if you stop your export here? Who benefits? Others benefit. So there is pros and cons both sides. So we need to take a win-win approach. By the way, I'm not expert in policy. I'm trying to tell that what my team is doing.
So if we focus on premium prices, will it be for the farmers, for common people, for better malnutrition? Will it focus on premium prices? And after in a market chain, many stakeholders and every time the price increases. So for it will not be affordable for the common.
Yeah, the question is that surplus. That what we grow is the small border farmers want to consume. Say for example, right? They can retain instead of buying anything rich product. They can retain the cheap price, they grow it. The surplus can be marketed. Why they should grow? That's what the question is asked. Why it should grow cheap price? So if surplus can be given a premium price, okay, they will increase. So again, if you are reaching some other place, then you need to spread the technology. Even farmer can go get the seed very cheaper. That's the ultimate aim of the market. The market when it comes to that and the premium price for that.
Actually, I said nothing decided. Actually, when they are releasing any variety, minimum standard of some micronutrient standard minimum will be there. Standard level we have to maintain, and we have to after that only we have to release that variety. Then why we have to go for biofortified crop varieties, sir? And it's not giving the more when we are comparing with the normal variety. Biofortified crop variety is not giving the more yield compared to the normal variety. Then why we have to go to the preference of cultivation of this biofortified variety?
Thank you. Again, so that's such an interesting question. I used to give it previously. As I mentioned, biofortification is just a decade old breeding program. The regular breeding program is 10 decades. Assume you are 10-year-old girl, birding with 30 years or 40 years experience. Okay, and you are what I mean is, when you make the cross, okay, it takes 5 to 6 years to reach your product. And you get only half decade to demonstrate the product is working in the market. So I'm not defending biofortification only, but we need to compare market versus office, current versus. The several decade-old breeding program is developed, number of varieties and how many number of people working. Biofortification, then we write, you can count how many people is working. And then similarly, how many varieties we use. Yes, of course, yes, but momentum is increasing. As I said, 40% of the Pakistan area seems to be how it is possible. The low age people will have. Now they have to combine with the high nutrition. That's how 40% reach. Similarly, there are percentage also here is happening, but it is very small. And the part of your question you asked that how the biofortified crops that's the minimum level. I will be more happy if everybody will accept the target level. It's fine, bro. We cannot put the blind target counterproductive. We can go step by step baseline. The healthy poro millet variety is not nutritious. Each variety is different. Like any all we need to okay baseline and more. So this over is considered. And after a decade, you break the bar. So we cannot put a bar at the last stage. That's the one.
Thank you, sir. And now I request Dr. Sadanan sir to facilitate our guest in the closing paper.
At the outset, on behalf of my readers, I thank Govindaraj Mahalingam for the interesting session. Any civilized will always be used to tell the poverty is the curse actually. Globally, you see the millions of people without food even today, even though we do large number of research and development. But large number of people are without food. You talk nearly 1 in 11 people are poverty across the globe or marginalized class. And it's not only people and children actually. It is 149 million people, children. Yet to age less than 5 years old, they are marginalized. They make a long-term impact of their development. They many are wasted and they are maybe they are prone to disease later on when they grow. That's the feature we are making burden. We are feature first only we are attaining. That's the very sad story. But efforts like this will be appreciated and it will be long way to go to support the large number of population to grow very healthy and also are having very productive assets, productive human beings for the global development story. That's what globally it is something people need to even today. Nearly 0.8 billion people are not having proper diet. That is roughly comes to 35%. The 2 months. These type of efforts need to go maybe as the Mr. Govindaraj was rightly told, research is already doing their work for last maybe 1 decade. It is big way they are doing it. Plus one of them taking lead in this, and also they are partnering with large number of other multi-stakeholders. Maybe development stakeholders like extension professionals, those who are having the greater opportunity or greater role to play in these areas without affecting their own cropping patterns or without affecting the farmers' income It's very difficult changing the farmers' behavior, as it's rightly telling. It's very difficult to take any new variety to the farmers, but still, it is speed of the hour, and it depends on the developmental players. And also maybe long-term policy from the governments to take these type of things to farming. And also even India, the talk it is clearly relevant classifies nearly 125 million there, less than $2, $2.15. That is 129 million. They are in extreme poverty. And right now, even though we tell them we have the food sufficient and they are food secure, but it's still we are not secure. Still millions of people are there. That's why even our FCI programs are full of rights, but all are not got the food even today. Many folks ingredients, which is very difficult thing. We won't realize, but we eat those who eat all 3 times. No, it's very difficult to realize how we go hungry, how difficult it is. We have food, but we are not eating. No? We get well, it's diet, we will be happily sleep because we reduce our weight. But without food, somebody is sleeping, it bothers them much. It is lifetime misery actually. That's why this is a very important topic. Maybe today's time is very exciting because many governments and across the globe we can see the 450 plus varieties Govindaraj was talking, and many countries taking. And it's a great story from our neighbor Pakistan. 40 plus percentage of wheat, those who are consuming, they are indexed wheat they are eating. That's a great story to see country like Pakistan and also. Again, this will wherever good stories are happening, so Bangladesh, Guatemala, or Latin American country like Nicaragua, wherever it is happening, it is something interesting because they are all still they need large number of programs and support for the increase in their own food sufficiency. In those countries, it is happening. Yes, there is a lot of possibility to take this one to across the globe. And again, when we talk about poverty and nutrition, malnutrition, it is not the elite is affected. Always rural population, the farmers are affected, farmer children are affected. That's why it's very important. Whenever they cultivate, they will take to their own families. Then it may be directly reaching to the people really affected by their malnutrition or poverty, mostly in the rural areas, majority of the rural areas. That's why it's a noble cause, and we appreciate when we are very happy to see the China was one of the pioneer in the breeding, and also a lot of awards and accolades, and also it is reaching globally on behalf of manage. We appreciate your efforts, and also we are very much thankful for your presence. We also thank the team, like Chari, for coordinating and leading this one. We also team from the Chari knowledge management team, and all the managed fellows, participants, interns, and also there are extension developmental officers are here, and also I'm very happy to some of these students. So yes, sir. Yeah, thank you very much for all of you. Thank you. Yes,
Small.
yes.